We've just heard eyewitnesses that were in this Venice restaurant just a month or so before September 11th. The timeline doesn't mesh, because when the FBI explains where the terrorists were in this country during the last 9 months of their conspiracy, the word Venice does not pass their lips. Was there something in Venice we weren't supposed to find? Brenda Cover works in the deli of this supermarket a mile from the airport. She says the terrorist pilots were in Venice just 1 week before the attack.
September 11th, I was on the phone with my mother-in-law the same time the buildings got hit. They showed pictures of 3 different guys. Alta was one of them on TV. And immediately I recognized the faces. And I told my husband then, oh my God, those are the 3 guys. They were just in the store a week ago. The week before that, they were in the store. They got subs.
Who were they meeting? Why were they here? The official story is that Mohammed Atta's terrorist cadre's appearance in Venice was nothing more than mere happenstance. Is that true? Again, we heard mention of Atta's dark presence.
I didn't like the way they stared at you. I mean, it would have been different if they would have talked to you like you were a normal person and just, hi, how are you today? But he just stood back and just glared at you with his dark eyes like you were the bad person. You know, like he wanted to do you harm or something. And it just really gave you a frightening, eerie feeling. Like I wouldn't want to be caught in the parking lot at night with him.
We asked Brenda when she first noticed the flood of Arab pilots coming through Venice.
About a year ago.
Was it just happenstance that so many young Arab men began arriving in Venice for pilot training all at about the same time? Because if it wasn't, then something else was going on in Venice, Florida, something which the FBI may be doing its best to ignore. Venice is worlds away from Miami Vice. Atta and his Arab cadre seem to fit right in on Florida's East Coast, the center of Casablanca-type intrigue with trendy eateries packed with tall European models. It's the sort of place where even Osama bin Laden could find an aircraft broker who would sell a U.S. jet trainer. This is the Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport, famous as a safe harbor for pirates of the air. This company, for example, used to work out of the infamous Mena, Arkansas airport, known as a haven for aviation intrigue during the 1980s.
Just blocks from this airport, Mohammed Atta rented a car for what would be the last month of his life. Incredibly, he used it to return to Venice. As we've seen in the FBI's official chronology, the word Venice does not appear in the story of Mohammed Atta's final days. But in the rental cars that Mohammed Atta and Marwan rented right behind me here, they went to Venice twice.
He rented 2 cars over 3 different contracts, a total of about 5 weeks. He picked up that car at closing time, and that one was going to be for 2 weeks. He told me it was going to be for 2 weeks, and told me he had to go over the west coast of Florida and wanted to know if that would be a problem.
In this nondescript building in Pompano Beach, Florida, we got confirmation that Atta had been in Venice during 2 of the last 3 weeks of his life.
While he was over in Venice during those 2 weeks, he called me from Venice. I saw it on the caller ID, and I thought, oh, wonderful, I got a car broke down over on the west coast of Florida. And he called me because the service engine soon light was on.
During his questioning by the FBI, Warwick learned new details of the attack.
Well, Marwan almost missed the building, so FBI told me that he was flying Marwan was flying 100 miles an hour faster than Atta, and that's why he flew into the building deeper, and that's why that building came down first, is because there was so much fuel deeper into the building. But their also explanation is Atta was very cool, calm, collected, just zeroed right in on it, just bingo, and Marwan, on the other hand, 10 years younger, was just scared to death. And flying, he flew erratic, and like I say, at the last minute, he almost even missed the building.
Numerous items in Warwick's account are at odds with the official story. Atta had supposedly never been to America before the previous summer, which is hardly enough time to learn to speak without an accent.
How was their English?
Both of them very good.
Yeah.
Very. I really thought that they had been in the country for a long time.
Where and when did Mohammed Atta learn to speak like he'd been here a long time? Everywhere we turned, we heard anomalous evidence.
Mohammed dressed to the nines. I mean, you know, nice pants, shirt, just business-like, real business appearing, but nice clothes.
The biggest mass murderer of the new century posed, ironically, as the perfect consumer.
He carried a briefcase, and he had all the credentials he needed. I mean, we asked for, in order for rent a car to anybody, they got to have credit card, driver's license, and proof of insurance, and he had that. Everything matched. He had Allstate insurance. Address on the insurance card matched his driver's license. And he was a perfect customer.
Warwick remains puzzled by certain inconsistencies in the terrorist's actions. More anomalous evidence.
If they were on a suicide mission, they knew they were going to be gone in a couple days. Number one, why would you go to the trouble to return the car to us 2 days before? If you got to catch a flight, like say out of Fort Lauderdale Airport to go up north, why don't you just leave the car at the airport? The heck with me. We already had a signed credit card slip. We could have put it on that credit card slip and saved yourself the aggravation. And what would you care? They bothered returning the car here, and on the last contract, we already had a signed credit card slip for Muhammad, and Marwan said, no, don't put it on his credit card. Here, put it on mine. Well, in order for us to take somebody else's credit card on a contract, you got to be on the contract. So that means he had to give us his driver's license, and he had to sign everything. No problem. He gave us his driver's license, got on the credit card, tore up Muhammad's credit card slip, charged it on Marwan. I mean, what all does this make if you're going to be dead in a couple days? What difference does all this make?
Warwick, too, noticed a high tide of suspicious characters.
I have given them a lot of names because this last year I've had a lot of people that after this 9/11, I go, whoa, what about that? Remember that customer? And what about that customer? It's 3 young guys that just prior to September rented a car from me for 3 months, and to me they fit the description of anything that Muhammad was up to. I mean, why would they spend $900 a month to rent a car from me? What would they be up to? Why were they here?
As with almost everything else about September 11th, Bradley Warwick's story has a twist. We asked him how Muhammad Atta had found his tiny agency.
How did they find you? Their credit, you know?
Oh, it's out of the phone book.
Yeah.
But in the Bell South Yellow Pages, there is, alas, no listing for Warwick's. More anomalous evidence. Neither is his company listed at the Florida Division of Corporations. But we did discover several IRS liens he has outstanding. Maybe that's why we weren't too surprised when he told us he's worked with the FBI before.
I've been involved with other FBI situations in the past.
For the last 6 weeks of his life, terrorist ringleader Muhammad Atta left the jazzier precincts of the Miami area to journey across the state to a retirement community with the second oldest population in the entire U.S., Venice. Did Muhammad Atta have a secret preference for blue-haired widows over tall European models? If he did, it'd be a big surprise. Atta frequented this Sarasota strip joint, conveniently located next to a nearby dog track. A young man with money to burn, Muhammad Atta enjoyed very un-Islamic lap dances here, and also at places like the Pink Pony Strip Club in Daytona Beach and the Olympic Garden, a grind joint on the seedier end of the strip in Las Vegas. Stuffing $20 bills into the panties of topless dancers must be frowned on, don't you think, by fundamentalist Saudi mullahs? But it wasn't all seedy strip clubs. When not ogling infidel flesh, Atta had a taste for the finer things as well, like hanging out at Harry's Bar in New York, for example, where he preferred a table near the piano. We can see someone, an Arab spy, for example, having a preference for a table near the piano at Harry's Bar.